Hi, everyone. So, my paper discusses the rise of social media influencing in India and its implications for consumerism as the lines blur between personal and professional personas, raising concerns about transparency, misinformation, mental health, and materialism. I bring out my points through specific examples and some research that I did. And it argues that there is a need for a collaborative effort among consumers, regulators, brands, and agencies to address these concerns. And my research is from a perspective of a consumer who has consumed a lot of social media. So, to dive into it, in India, social media influencing has become very multifaceted and complex, where influencers have amassed a lot of professional capital. And it is not like the era of the traditional celebrity, where you need to have mega projects and big budgeted efforts to amass this personal capital. Even an Indian Aam Aadmi, the common man, the common woman, can amass such capital by the virtue of extending their influence on Instagram and showcasing their niche interest in areas of fashion, lifestyle, food, etc. Media consumption, which was once dominated by celebrities, is now being taken over by the influencers who have much smaller but much more engaged audiences. And even the traditional celebrity is trying to keep up with this modern tool of influence by being present and active on their social media platforms. Uh, Viewers are also witnessing celebrity as a function of social media algorithms rather than pure skill. Social media algorithms underpin the attention economy. They are fast, addictive, favor virality, and can often be manipulative. The content creator economy rides on the wave of these algorithms, raising grievous questions about transparency and authenticity of the new age celebrity. So while these lines blur, I take a look into four areas where which warrant further research and further analysis of how this blurred lines are confusing the audiences and also rising a lot of distrust in them. So the first is the lack of transparency and authenticity in influencer marketing. So a deep dive into a major skincare Indian influencer's Instagram feed showcased that within a span of a month, she recommended a total of 147 skincare products as skincare essentials as paid promotion. Her followers also spotted paid promotions for products she had earlier said that were not good and did not work for her. But now, because these were paid promotions, she was talking about them in a very good light. In this scenario, one must ask themselves the question, does the influencer's accountability lie with the audience that has given them the platform, or does it lie with the brands who are paying them for advertisement or promotions? While this blurred lines also it also influences what we perceive as content and what we perceive as advertisements. Influencer endorsements can sway purchase decisions of followers, and brands are willing to pay big money to tap into this influence. And even though we see a massive rise in influencer marketing, the Indian consumer is going very skeptical of this particular area of marketing and often perceives it as dishonest. Lack of transparency and authenticity has become a concern. And to address this, the ASCI, the Advertising Standards Council of India, issued a lot of guidelines for influencer marketing in 2019. However, this is difficult to achieve because influencer contracts can be highly informal in nature, such as barter, exposure, etc. And the accountability of maintaining transparency in the ecosystem is not with brands alone. Mamaearth, an Indian skincare brand that positions itself as a natural skincare brand free from harmful chemicals, they do not manufacture their own products. Their products are mass manufactured, and they have built a considerable social capital based on influencer marketing alone. In a span of 6 months, they paid around 4,000 influencers to promote their products on social media, which is a classic case of aggressive marketing to drown out the critiques surrounding the brand. Now, Coming on to the next area of analysis, the rising spread of misinformation. There is an increasing pressure by platform algorithms on influencers to create engaging content, which is very catchy and concise. The virality of the content is often unrelated to the skill or the effort or the actual content in it. It is often dictated by the algorithms. One example of this is this is finance content, which has seen a meteoric rise on content platforms due to the ability of reels and YouTube shorts to make it more digestible and understandable for the audience who does not have training or expertise in these domains. However, this content can be misleading because it is often required by the platforms to reduce this content to a catchy hook, not bringing out the subtle nuances, the terms and conditions of utilizing financial products. And this is a very, very dangerous precedent to set because the Indian consumer often takes these advice and acts on them and invests their savings in these financial products while not doing their due diligent research. The SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India, is also coming up with new regulations for these finfluencers, where only SEBI registered entities will be able to offer financial advice on social media. Social media is also not regulated the way traditional advertisements are. The platforms themselves moderate the content. The lack of cultural and geographical context leads to promotion of blatant misinformation, harmful cultural appropriation, and stereotypes. The regulatory responsibility in this domain is very, very nascent. Anyone with a social media account can start creating content without doing their due research or qualifications, and it can be very difficult for the consumer to dissociate fact from content that is carefully crafted to garner engagement. Even if regulations are put in place, enforcing them can be really challenging, as the ease of putting up a post on Instagram and removing it is very, very fast, and it can often go undetectable in the vast span of accounts and the influencer economy that exists.
Shambhavi, you're 7 minutes in, you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
The next area that I want to explore is the formation of parasocial relationships. So influencers are both accessible and aspirational, unlike Bollywood celebrities who are only aspirational but inaccessible, which allowed them to take on projects which are not associated with their personal brand and opinions and have a diverse range of opportunities. For the influencer whose content is their own life and their platform, it can be very, very mentally taxing to constantly make themselves available to their consumer. Even the people who are consuming their content often feel that they are friends with the influencers and feel entitled to know about their daily lives. So for example, prominent Indian influencers named as Kritika Kurhana, when she announced her separation from her husband, there was a huge hue and cry from her fandom, saying that if they had access to her wedding festivities, why not have access to the reason why her marriage did not work out? So that is one area which is which has become a concern due to the blurred lines between the people and their platforms. Now coming on to the final area of exploration, the influencer culture in India often promotes materialism, creating this need to acquire excessively with over having meaningful relationships and experiences. Since the content is very relatable and approachable, the lifestyle is also very, very aspirational to the consumer, while it might not always be sustainable. The consumer starts feeling low self-esteem while trying to conform to these standards, trying to keep up with all of the trends that are coming at them with a lot of speed. So two examples here. One is the example of the Sarojini Nagar market, which rose into popular consciousness through social media influencers. It has a very, very, it has a culture similar to sweatshops, and workers there are paid as low as 1.5 rupees per cloth, and they work in 12-hour-long shifts. Another issue here is gentrification of places like Goa and Himachal during the pandemic, where the influencers moved to such places, rising the rents and made housing unaffordable to local residents, and their followers followed suit after this. So one can argue that when the influencers display content, it should fall within their ambit to display all sides of the aspirational lifestyle, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So in conclusion, with the gradual erosions of boundaries between influencers and their platforms, the reliability that consumers once ascribed to industry professionals is now extended to influencers with social capital and a platform, leading to deep distrust of influencer marketing, rampant misinformation, mental health concerns, both for the influencer and the influenced, and the promotion of excessive materialism with significant socio-cultural costs. Influencers and brands are facing questions about how to establish and maintain credibility in a digital environment where personal and professional personas are closely intertwined. For consumers, this warrants a deeper exploration of various factors that can influence their choices and decisions, and a re-evaluation of their relationship with content and its creators, because influence does not necessarily imply reliability, and ease of access doesn't entitle one to intimacy. It is the collective responsibility of everyone in the ecosystem, the influencers, agencies, regulators, and consumers, to ensure transparency and to bring a balance to this discourse. Thank you. That's it from me.
Yeah.